Hello, everybody. I thought today I would come on and I would put a face to the voice. Um, I haven't had my tripod and stuff as I've been saying in other videos, so it's all right, Luna. Luna's talking here. So I've not been able to set it up. I don't want to have to hold it in my hand. So it's nice to see everybody. It's nice to have a sort of more personal, intimate setting. I think that's much nicer, rather than having to listen to people. It's much nicer, sort of one to one kind of a thing. But welcome to the channel, and I hope you are enjoying the videos. Um, I'm interested in so many things, and I just started doing it as a sort of a journal log because I love to record things when I'm out and about. And if I leave it till I get home, I forget about a lot of the stuff that I want to talk about. And I get a lot of ideas and things, that I'd like to share. But I'm going to switch things up a wee bit today, because I've got so many interests. I'm a very philosophical person by nature, and I love to ponder a lot of different things. So, and as the channel gets bigger and I, explore more topics, you'll see the sort of breadth of interests that I'll start talking about. Some of them you might be interested in, some of them you might not be, and that's absolutely fine. Um, but it also, you might learn some new stuff and find some of the stuff interesting. So today I'm going to talk about dreams, because dreams are something that are really interesting to me. I've had some powerful dreams, and I love to share them. I love to talk about them and get feedback, and have a sort of open up a kind of a dialogue about dreams, because they're just so fascinating, and so the first story I'm going to share with you, I've had loads of dreams, and I'll put more videos up about dreams, but this is one that's quite poignant to me, and it's one that's very vivid in my mind. So this is one about my mother. So I hope you enjoy it, and you can let me know what you think about it and share your experiences. That'd be great. I love hearing other people's dreams. So anyway, this dream happened in 2017, and my mother had just passed away. She was living in Ireland, and there was a few family members still at home, but most of them were abroad, and I was abroad. I was living in Scotland at the time. So we all had to travel back home for my mother's funeral. And we were all home for, a couple of days, and sorting out the arrangements and the funeral and, family and all that kind of stuff. So when you're sort of in that process, you're kind of an automatic pilot, and you just sort of, you just you just do things, and even if you're tired, you just get on with it. So after the funeral and everything was over, our family home was still there, and one of my brothers still lives in the family home in Donegal, and everybody else was staying in hotels and stuff, but I decided to stay in the family home while I was there, because I had friends and stuff that I wanted to see that I hadn't seen in a while, and they would live close by. So I stayed at home. So that night when I came back, I was obviously, everything was over, and you're sort of processing everything. And I went into our living room area, and the fire was on, because it was in the winter time. It was actually the day before my birthday that my mother passed away. So it was in December. So it was very cold back in Ireland. So I was in the living room anyway, and if I sort of set a scene for you, to the right hand side of me, there would have been the entrance into the living room, then a sofa along the back wall, a big window to the back, and then another wall to the left, and the fireplace and the hearth wall in front of me. So I came in, I was very tired, and I lay down on the sofa and had a blanket over me by the fire, and I fell asleep. I was exhausted. I had a bit of a cry and that, just release it after the whole experience and all that. And then I lay down and I fell asleep. And I dreamt about my mother. And it was the most fascinating, wonderful dream. And it was a lucid dream. For anybody who doesn't know what a lucid dream is, a lucid dream is when you dream and it's so vivid. It's like it's happening in real life, just as vivid, or sometimes even more vivid than what your daytime experience would be. So anyway, so the dream started off. The setting in the dream was exactly the same as the way the living room was laid out at that time. The same colour walls, same positions, everything was in the layout. And even I was laid out in the exact same position. I was lying down on the sofa with my feet towards the door and my head towards the back wall and the window behind me. And in my dream, I was looking towards the door. So the door would have been here, and I was looking towards the door. The door was closed. So I'm looking at the door, and the next thing the door opens, just opens sort of like in a sway motion. I didn't hear any noise or anything. That's one thing about the dream. There was no noise in the dream. It was like a pin, you could hear a pin drop. So anyway, my mother's standing in the door. Now, I knew straight away it was my mother. She just looked exactly like my mother. But the difference was she looked like my mother when my mother was about 60, 65, and sort of around that age. And my mother was well into her 80s when she passed away. And she passed away from cancer, so she had lost a terrible lot of weight, and that sort of gaunt effect that cancer takes on a body. So she looked completely different than what she did, when she was sick. But the interesting thing about it was she was glowing. She looked like as if you had put a light inside her and it was shining out through her whole being. And it was like an internal glow that was glowing outwards. It was quite amazing. And she looked solid, like as if you touch her, like that, you would feel her. But it's slightly different. It's kind of hard to explain. You couldn't see through her. She wasn't ghostly like or anything like that. She looked solid, and she was wearing a green dress, a green and white dress that she used to wear years ago. I remember, and a cream cardigan. And I remember her wearing this dress and this cardigan years ago. Now I couldn't see her feet because the bottom of the sofa was blocking that part where the door would be down. So I couldn't tell if she was, you know, floating or anything, but she didn't look like she was floating. But she didn't look at me. What she did was she stood in the doorway and she glanced from left to right and then back again. And then she put her hand, she didn't, sorry, move her hands or anything. It was her eyes she moved. She didn't move her head. She didn't move her hands. She didn't move her body. It was her eyes. Her eyes went from left and then came back to right. Or sorry, right and then back to left. And I was just watching this in my dream. And the other interesting thing about it was she didn't speak, she didn't say anything, she didn't make any movement with her mouth or head, anything, just her eyes. And the other thing about her was that I noticed was her skin. The only part of her that I could see was her hands and her face because she was covered with the dress and that. But her skin was flawless, like a baby's skin when it's first born. That beautiful, soft, flawless skin. It was quite amazing. And she did it again. But on the second time that she did it, she made eye contact with me. And as soon as she made eye contact with me, I woke up and sat straight up on the sofa. Now, I'm not exactly sure what time it was, but it was in the middle of the night sometime, but I would say it was probably closer to the morning, maybe around 4 a.m., between 4 or 5 a.m. It wasn't bright outside, but it was in the winter, so it probably wouldn't have gotten bright until about 8 o'clock anyway, but it was sometime around then. But as soon as I sat up and I looked, she was gone and the door was closed, and the room was quiet. But it was quite the incredible experience because when we were kids, before my mother would go to bed, we would all be in the sitting room, on the fire would be on, be watching some rubbish on the telly, in the evening when we were kids before we'd go to bed. And she would come in, and that's exactly what she would do. She would open the door, she would check to see who was in, if everybody was all right, and then she would go to bed. So the interesting thing about it is, what was she doing? And this is what I find fascinating, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. It raises a lot of questions. Did she come back to see me from the other side? You know, um, to tell me that she was all right and she was still looking after me? Did she come to comfort me? Or was it my mind thinking about her and projecting that out? And I find all these things interesting, fascinating to ponder upon. And the other interesting thing about it is I lay back down and I fell asleep again almost straight away. And I didn't think I would sleep after that experience, because it was quite a vivid, startling experience. And I woke up, it was about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'd had the best night's sleep I'd ever had. And I'd only been sleeping for maybe another couple of hours. And after all that travelling and all that stress and everything to do with the funeral, I felt like I'd been asleep for months. I felt the most overwhelming sense of serenity and peace and calm that I've ever felt in my life. And what I do a lot of the time, because I'm an artist, I um, I'll journal my dream and then I'll try and make an artwork, a painting or a drawing or something about the experience. So let me know what you think about the dream, and if you're interested in that topic as well. I'm going to start doing different topics because, as I said, I've got such a wide interest, and you'll see as the channel starts to grow, I'll start creating playlists, and there'll just be an array of different topics, there, of all the things that I'm interested in. And I'd love to know your experiences, your dreams. If you've had premonition dreams, messages in dreams, loved ones coming back in dreams. I'd love to know if you've had, dreams where you've been flying or loads of things like that, and I'll put out more and more dreams um, as they come up. And let me know. Let me know what you think of my dream, and let me know if you have had any other dreams. Um, I love hearing about other people's stories and other people's dreams. Okay, so that's something different for you. And now that I've pulled the tripods and stuff out of the back, I'll do more now face-to-face videos. Um, so we won't have to be sitting looking at the corner of a room, but uh, I still like to, even though some of those ones aren't the best. I still like to get the message out when it's in my head, because I like to do it while it's flowing, or just as occasionally forget about it. So anyway, so that's the dream. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Okay, everybody, take care.